Greg, Hans Conroy, Crowbar Gym. Just making an update. Let's see, I am going to the gym today, and I'm going to teach a one-on-one martial arts class. So that's pretty much what we're doing. No more group classes at the Crowbar Gym. Nope. And if I do take anybody as a group, it's going to be like family members or people who are technically known to each other, or cohabitate respectively. And the gym is opening up literally Monday, taking small groups, one-on-one sessions, and that's pretty much what's going to happen with that. And I'll do an advertising why. Gotta put something out on YouTube, why that would be, retrospectively, and we already know why. Regular gyms, to be frank, are dirty. A lot of them, you can't clean everything. And honestly, it's a good idea. When you do have one of those regular gyms, to put out those little hand sanitizers. They're pretty much when I went out to get them, they're pretty much gone. Hand sanitizers are, and also to the tubs, they're done too. So. A lot of those places can't keep up with it. Same thing like with the theater. Theater is closed. You can't, don't get me wrong. It's nice theaters that we have around here in Virginia, but they can't keep up even with cleaning the bathroom. A lot of it's like, staffing and stuff like that. So let alone they're going to, clean down the buttons in the elevator and stuff like that. It's not going to happen. But so far here in Virginia, man, we're still, I would say it's like a self-lockdown, self-quarantine. Last night I was getting cabin fever, so I was just like, let me make some gin and tonics and stuff, and things like that. And that's kind of like a joke. Everybody's been saying if you drink a gin and tonic, maybe mostly not the gin, but mostly the tonic. That's the what is it called? The virus killer, right? Other than that, that's pretty much it. I haven't put out any martial arts videos for a variety of reasons. For one, it's one of those things where, as a business, leveraging martial arts is a lot harder than would be leveraging, like a gym or weight training or any kind of physical fitness. One, it's you do take a lot of big giant groups, and at the moment I'm the only qualified instructor, as we already know, because it is my place, it is my flavor of an art. What kind of martial arts do I do? People have always asked that. I do a hybrid, but mostly my base is a jiu-jitsu, and I'm accredited through the American Jiu-Jitsu Association. And I'm also accredited through the Combat Sambo Association by Michael Gapper. They're up in Boston, if I remember quickly. They've probably moved. It's been a long time since I've been up there. And I have 6 degrees in both of those. And honestly, the rank doesn't mean anything. It just, you have to put in the time and the effort into the martial arts and kind of create your own flavor. I've done a lot of military forms of martial arts, including Filipino styles, different versions of it. And a lot of it is really just being a master of movement, man. That's really what it really comes down to, and that's from Ron Balicki, just in case he ever watches this. And it's all good. Some tactics are better than others, and it just really depends. For example, like when I talk to the instructors down in what's it called, Federal Law Enforcement Training Center. They go, I guess Randy Couture went down there and taught his Greco-Roman style. And, and he's great. I've actually seen him, train Marines in the Greco-Roman style. I never got to do the class with him, so unfortunately I passed that up. But the reality is that, that Greco-Roman stuff was great. The only problem is that, well, if you're a cop or if you're a person who does self-defense, you have a gun on your hip. So it made a lot of the movements what would be considered to be very, very dangerous or almost like tactically not efficient, retrospectively. Especially the ground stuff. The ground fighting was very, very different when we used when you have a weapon on your hip. The same thing goes if you have knives and and handguns and stuff like that. So it's one of those things. It's like a toolbox. But I suggest always try different martial arts, and if you're an instructor, try to give your people, especially people that just come in, try to give them something they can walk out the door with. I know we want to hold back. I know I know we want to hold back because we want to retain those students and stuff like that. But a lot of it's really resonates with the environment. If you create an environment that resonates with a certain individual, that's the kind of people that you're going to get. If you're, and that's really what you should focus on, and mentorship and stuff like that if you are an instructor. And then you try to get as real as possible. Don't get crazy. Mind you that like all sorts of training is just training. It's not real. You can make it as real as possible, like MMA, for example. That's the closest you can get to making it real. But just like I do in Crowbar Gym, it's about keeping safety high, and then bringing down, keeping safety high, and then maximizing the potential of ruining joints and getting hurt and stuff like that. And that's really what you should be focusing on when it comes to martial arts. And then I love old school martial arts. So, like recently I'm going to learn how to use the Chinese whip. I do that because I'm a teacher. But if you're trying to find something that it's going to be fast, quick and easy, you want to get into a place where people are, a little bit more serious about it. The only problem with that is they are going to be doing more ballistic movements. But any martial arts that has any kind of grappling, joint manipulation, throwing, mostly up on the feet. If you're down on the ground all the time, that's an unrealistic martial arts, because yes, fights do go down the ground, but at the end of the day, fights are usually against two people. so that's another thing you got to be worried about. So everything has its limitations. And mind you, this is a journey. If anything, if you're really worried about your safety, you need to technically devote yourself to tools. Like technically we have right to carry here in Virginia, so that's number one. You can have expandable batons. You can even learn how to use your own bag and like an umbrella, as a tactic, as a shield or something like that. There's also tasers. There's pepper spray. All these things have their limitations, and they also have their issues that can be used against you too as well. And this is part of the dichotomy of the martial arts that I usually teach, and a lot of it is Ninpo Tai Jitsu, and it's a standard that they teach, I guess, is what I was told in Japan, as the police seize. It's technically a seizing art, so it's very heavy in joint manipulation. Stand up, a lot of judo, throwing. There's grappling, of course, that is involved, but that's not an emphasis because you should be up on your feet. So that's really the martial arts that I try to portray, and I use a lot of weapons as well. So yeah, I'll post this up on my YouTube or whatever, and Crowbar Gym, and we do teach I guess it'll be every Saturday and Sunday. I don't know, I might expand it since my times are changing, so that'd be great. And I'm down eventually. I got crazy ideas, like I wouldn't mind having other people with other arts to technically share the space with, just because one, I'm going to learn from them as well, and then two, eventually like that art is going to evolve and become something different than it's going to be, and then that's about it. Crowbar Gym out.